Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage NBC Connecticut Emmy Award-winning news anchor Keisha Grant.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. We are going to start this beautiful afternoon. I'm going to give you a couple of moments to go ahead, finish up your pleasantries, and saying hello, sharing the love. After all, that's what it's all about. We are in the company of women and some men. So let's share the love. I will give you a couple of moments just to finish up, to make your way to your seat, because we want to get this exciting afternoon underway. I am so happy to be here with you today. What an amazing turnout. Wow. Wow, give yourselves a round of applause, please. So the doors are closed. That means, guys, we're going to get started. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Again, I am pleased to serve as your mistress of ceremony for the 28th In the Company of Women Luncheon, featuring our keynote speaker, 6-time Olympic medalist and 3-time gold medalist and legendary heptathlon winner, Jackie Joyner-Kersee. How exciting is that? How exciting is that? Every year we put forth a theme and we put a lot of thought into this. Our theme this year for this magnificent luncheon is Equity Isn't a Game. There is truth to that. It's always so good to be back with the YWCA Hartford region in the company of great people such as each and every one of you here today, giving of your time, so generous to give of your efforts. We are gracious to you, so thank you. Thank you for sharing your time with us. We have over 1,100 people in this room having lunch with us right now. Give yourselves another round of applause, please. We could not make this happen without you. We could not be here doing the work, putting in the time without you. So from the bottom of my heart, I thank you. We do want to acknowledge dignitaries who are in the room with us right now. And I preface this with, I'm going to go down the list, please. If I do omit anyone from the list, it is not intentional. It's just because we haven't seen everyone who maybe has slipped in. So please, if I forget anyone on the list, I apologize. But with us right now, Lieutenant Governor Susan Bysowitz. Thank you for standing, Lieutenant Governor. And you can stand when I call your name. Assistant State Treasurer Andrea Comer. Let's give her a round of applause. State Senator Douglas McCrory. State Representative Tammy Exum. City of Hartford Assistant City Treasurer Carmen Sierra. Department of Children and Families Commissioner Vanessa Durantes. Deputy Commissioner Jody Hill-Lilly. Lakeisha Hyatt, Chief Executive Officer, Connecticut Valley Hospital. Danielle Wong, Mayor for the town of Bloomfield. Bloomfield Town Councilwoman Suzette DeBeetham Brown. Rocky Hill Mayor Lisa Murata. Town of Simsbury Deputy Town Manager Melissa Appleby. I do want to take a moment to thank our presenting media sponsors, Comcast, NBC Connecticut, Telemundo Connecticut. Thank you. Our champion sponsors, Travelers, Last Parking, and Voices of Women of Color. We could not make this afternoon happen without them. A big thank you to our supporting sponsor, ESPN. Thank you also to our partner sponsors, Connecticut Public PBS and WNPR, Hoffman Lexus, The Hartford, Aries, and Pratt & Whitney. Let's give them a round of applause too. We thank them just as well. We are grateful to the media sponsors, Hartford Business Journal, Hartford Current Media Group, and Inquiring News. Let's give them a round of applause. A big thank you to all of the sponsors, including our Unlimited Opportunity sponsors, Community Builder sponsors, and Friends sponsors. To view a complete list, please do look in the program that is on your seat. And while I know you want to chit-chat, it is lunch, I'm going to let you do so in just a moment, but just give me a moment of your time because we do have a couple of nuts and bolts that are so important for you to hear. Thank you. Your sponsorship support will help YWCA Hartford Region realize its mission daily with its high-impact services and programs that affect the lives of nearly 1,800 women and families every single year. That is why we're all here. Your presence today demonstrates that you understand deeply just how critical it is to sustain these programs, to have these programs in our community. So thank you. Please let us give all of today's sponsors a hearty round of applause. I would like for us to stay connected today. YWCA Hartford Region is on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, you name it, we got it covered, right? Please do share your pictures from today and tag us, hashtag YWCA Hartford 2023. YWCA Hartford Region's mission is dedicated to eliminating racism, empowering women, and promoting peace, justice, freedom, and dignity for all. Please do consider a gift today. There are 3 ways you can do so. You can contribute. First, you can text YWCA 2023, and you see on the screens there in the room. Text YWCA 2023 to the number 243725. 243725. You see it on the screens here. To get a link directly sent to your phone to donate. You can also look in the center of your table and you'll see a QR code that you can scan with your phone and it will pop up easily there as well. Okay, so enough with the technology, right? We're going old school for anybody who has a checkbook in their pocket or purse or in your wallet. There are donation cards and envelopes on your table where you can write a check or provide your credit card information. Staff will retrieve those envelopes from the table immediately following the program. We've got you covered, and you know what? You're here, that's half the hurdle, but I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna thank you in advance for all of your support. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, at this moment, it is my pleasure to draw your attention to the screens in the room for a particular video. Equity isn't a game.
In 2021, we started a listening session series where we were hearing from both women and girls at all aspects of sports. There was inequity from the ground up. And in 2022, we held our first Equity Isn't a Game sports conversation at the Yard Goat Stadium. We had local athletes and we had a local conversation about what they were seeing, feeling, and experiencing. Girls had the opportunity to ask the hard questions about how people advance despite the adversities. Here at the YWCA Hartford Region, when we do our programs, when we tend to the needs of small children, when we advocate at the legislature,
What I love about this is that not a lot of girls can show people what they can do, because not a lot of people don't really care about girls and things that they want to show. Sometimes girls don't even have the chance to speak up. So like this is what I love about the program, because a lot of like we can speak up for ourselves and we can have a second chance.
Thank you for being vulnerable enough to say that, because I would hope in 2023 that would not be something we would have to deal with.
Equity isn't a game on the field because we're not playing games, and it's not a game in our everyday life.
Hardest thing that I've ever taken on, and coming home days that you're beaten down, you just have the hardest days ever. And having somebody like Unita Ruth to get on the phone with me and talk me down and just kind of keep on instilling me that you are worthy of this.
She got her nursing degree and now she's a full-time nurse. So Mom, when you see this, I want you to know that I'm proud of you and everything that you've accomplished.
Our programs, services, and initiatives at YWCA Hartford Region are designed to fit the needs of women of all walks of life.
Financial literacy makes the world more equitable by ensuring that everybody has the education. So I believe when people know better, they do better, by our famous Maya Angelou. So the goal is to ensure that everybody gets financial information so that they can make more informed decisions to help with their financial futures.
Staff here has been nothing but amazing. They're always happy and cheerful to come in here, and the staff is just so welcoming and loving towards all children.
So ready for the evening, so Mommy can come and pick him up. So it's a wonderful place.
We recognize that equity isn't a game when we talk about trying to get back on your feet. And so the way that we care for the residents in our Soramundi Commons shows that homelessness is not a permanent status.
YWCA staff has helped me realize that housing is a basic right.
Equity isn't a game when we talk about leading in innovation. And for this reason, YWCA Hartford Region launched its social enterprise last year in 2020 and has exceeded and excelled in so many ways. Persimmon petals are the flowers that empower. So we are excited about the work that we do here at YWCA Hartford Region, because we recognize that when it comes to equity, it isn't a game when we play this game called life. And it isn't a game when it comes down to being secure, stable, and able to excel. We are excited about the women that we serve in the Hartford region and the girls that we are helping to raise throughout the state because of the work that we do here.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage YWCA Hartford Region's Chief Executive Officer, Adrian W. Cochran.
It's bad bitch o'clock, yeah, it's thick 30. I've been through a lot, but I'm still flirty. Is everybody back up in the building? It's been a minute, tell me how you're healing. Cause I'm about to get into my feelings. How you feeling? How you feel right now?
Great show, Justin.
Been so down under pressure. I'm way too fine to be distressed, yeah.
My choice.
The girl I was or used to be.
Come on, LG. Come on.
Turn up the music. Turn down the lights. I got a feeling I'm gonna be alright. Okay. Alright. It's about damn time. Turn up the music. Let's celebrate. I got a feeling I'm gonna be okay. Okay. Alright. It's about damn time. In a minute, I'ma need us.
Good afternoon. Thank Thank you. You want to keep partying because we don't need no music? Is that what it is? Thank you so, so much, and welcome to In the Company of Women and a lot of great men, number 28. Thank you for being here. We have a kind of packed house here today, but we want to give you some assurance. We're still limiting our attendance just so we can assure comfort and safety. So thank you so much for being here. My heart is full. I'm grateful today. 5 years ago, I stood on this stage for the first time as the YWCA Chief Executive Officer. Today, which was my dad's birthday, I'm so grateful that in this time, there is so much that we, all of us together, have been able to accomplish. I want to say a few thank yous to include to Keisha Grant, who continues to support YWCA, our mission and our purpose, our sponsors and our guests, because without you, not only would this not be possible, none of the work that we do every day would be possible either. And our table captains, and I need the table captains to stand, past, present, and future. These table captains for decades have been the backbone of this luncheon. So whether you are here for the first time or the 28th time, please know that we understand we could not do this without you either. So thank you so much. Our luncheon co-chairs, wow. Annie, Monica, I called, you came. I know this was a second time around for you, but thank you so much for everything you've done. Thank you. And please, please let me hear it for an amazing team of mission-focused professionals that are the staff of the YWCA Hartford region. Let's give it up to them. A special thanks to Sharon Bellinger, Carol Jimenez, Karina Thorpe, and Leslyn Clark, who make up our development department that did all the work on this, and Yvonne Davis, our consultant. Let's hear it for them as well. And Keisha left this for me, so I thank you so much. An amazing board of directors, chaired by the incomparable. You know what's coming. Commissioner for DSS, my chair, Andrea Barton Reeves. Thank you. And of course, to the Convention Center staff, to the Marriott staff who provided accommodations for our guests, Power Station, thank you so much. 5 years later, what was promised has turned into fulfillment, and while there is so much more work to be done, we're on our way, and we thank you. The video that you saw provides a glimpse into the work that we are undertaking, and again, we appreciate the support of all of you, our sponsors and supporters, for helping to make this happen. We're so proud of the lives that we're able to touch, and the achievements that we are helping to make the women, girls, and families with whom we work. Because it takes strength, and it takes resolve, and it takes resilience. And those are, not surprisingly, but a few characteristics of our amazing guest today. 6-time Olympic medalist, 3 times gold, she is the GOAT, Jackie Joyner-Kersee. Now, what many of you may not know, if you haven't read her books, she did all of this with asthma. So think about that. Think about what she accomplished. And that's why to our girls, where are girls from YWLC? Where are you? Little quiet today. Yanita must be talking to them, but let's hear it for them. Ah, there she is. All right. So I have to make this a little personal and tell you that I first met Jackie Joyner Kersee when I was in law school in St. Louis. And that was at the height of her career, the peak. And East St. Louis, Illinois, as you know, is just right over the river. And so Jackie was as big a deal in St. Louis and the surround as she was in East St. Louis. Then in 2009, when I was living and working in Fort Lauderdale, Jackie was the keynote for an organization in West Palm Beach, and that's just a short distance, so I had to make sure I got there for that. And then in 2018, during her stint as Comcast national spokesperson for Internet Essentials, right over at Betty Knox, our paths crossed again. So when Melinda Johnson, our Director of Community Engagement and Advocacy, imagined the program you saw snippets from, that equity isn't a game, and we carried that forward to this year, it was but a very small step to say, what should our theme be? Equity isn't a game. Who can we get for the speaker? You go through names, you talk about it, and I called my board chair and I said, what do you think about Jackie Joyner Kersee? And she said, can we get her? And we said, we got her. So we're so pleased that she's here with us today. As I close, I want to share something with you, and I don't know how many of you are aware of her book, A Kind of Grace. And in the epilogue of this 1997 book, and I want to read this to you, this is a letter that she wrote to her deceased mother. Very close relationship, always seeking the approval of her mom and knowing that that was the yardstick. And it still is for many of us today. Did we make Mama proud, right? And in her letter, she says in part, all in all, I'm happy with who I am and with what I've accomplished, and I'd like to think I'm a success. My biggest fear is that I haven't lived up to your expectations. The one thing I never wanted to do was let you down. That's why whenever I feel lost or perplexed about something, I try to think of what you'd want me to do. Some people who've judged me as a person and as an athlete have made me feel I wasn't pretty enough. I wasn't good enough. But each time I thought, am I good enough for Mama? I hope that every time you look down on me from heaven, that no matter how I look on the outside, you always see beauty within me. If you do, Mama, then I'm a success. Thank you for everything. I miss you. Ladies and gentlemen, when Jackie Joyner Kersee, from the City of Champions, for anybody who might know, the E-Boogie, East St. Louis, Illinois. Not yet. Everybody's turned their head. Not quite yet. When she comes out, I'm asking you to make sure she knows, not only is she pretty, she is beautiful, she is a champion, and we are all very proud of her. Thank you and enjoy the rest of the day. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our In the Company of Women co-chairs, past board members for YWCA Hartford Region, Antoinette Annie Lazarus and Monica Hoffman.
Wow. Now that's an entrance.
It was.
We are unstoppable. Everyone in this room. Can we say it again? We are unstoppable. Annie, we just took a walk down memory lane, didn't we?
We sure did, Monica.
Seeing these photos brings back some fantastic memories about past lunches, 28 years of them. And we are pleased to be back co-chairing today and with all of you.
Yes, Monica, we have known each other for more than 20 years now. We've been with the YWCA Hartford region for, I think it's more than 20 plus years. And this is the second time we're co-chairs for the YWCA in the company of Women Luncheon. And we are so pleased to be here, and we are so fortunate to be back with all of you.
The photos you see playing on the screens show you highlights from some of our unique programs and services that we do in our community. Advocacy, childcare, and of course, community engagement. We wear so many hats.
The impact of the YWCA Hartford Region's work shows that equity should not be played with. We have had many successes in shaping and changing lives of women, youth, and families across the greater Hartford region, with much more in store.
From Keisha in the video that played earlier to Adrian's inspirational words, it's very hard to go after her. It indicates that everyone in this room must continue to support our programs and services. These programs exist to help create a more equitable community and world.
And as co-chairs and former board members, we are grateful to all of you and our sponsors who purchased a table or tickets for this event to see Jackie Joyner-Kersey.
Our sponsors have gotten us very far to date. We have raised over $250,000, but we have just a little more to do today to get us over that finish line. I know that is amazing. But we do want to get over that finish line. We have about $35,000 more to raise today in this room, and we will talk about the multiple ways we can do that.
So what's equity? So equity is to recognize that we don't all start at the same place. We start at different places. Equity means everyone should have access to the same treatment, opportunities, and opportunities for advancement. Equity aims to identify and eliminate barriers that prevent full participation in society. To paraphrase Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., it's okay to tell a woman to lift herself from her shoe straps, but it is cruel to say to a shoeless woman that she should lift herself by her shoe straps. Let's not wait to do something. Here's how you can help us adjust imbalances.
As I look across this room and I think about the people that we serve in our community, and if I thought they were here today looking at all of you, I would argue to say that you are the dream. Every single person in this room. You are the pinnacle of success to them. Well, how did we all get here? Education, support, drive, and a hand up along the way. Some of you, like me, have been involved with the YW, and maybe on the other side, through being a recipient of services. It's our duty to pay it forward. No one succeeds alone. And there are people in this room that have lifted both Annie and I up. And it's time for all of us to get together and stand together and make a difference.
So if you're able to, there are 3 ways to contribute today. On your table is a card with a QR code to scan with your smartphone. You may also text YWCA 2023 to 243-725 to donate. Or you could go online to ywcahartford.org/donate. Or you can contribute the old-fashioned way by writing a check that we collect. If you put it in the envelope, the center of the table, staff will come by and pick it up at the end of the program.
Ladies and gentlemen, every and any amount counts towards our goal and for the sustainability of our critical programs and services. You can see on the screens, if you didn't catch what we had said a few minutes ago, but please donate.
So Monica and I want to thank you, each and every one of you, from the bottom of our hearts for your generosity. And now, let's get to the main event.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back to the stage Keisha Grant.
I love that. I feel like I'm at work. I feel like it's 5 p.m., 6 p.m., or maybe even 11. I don't know. Hey, there are a couple dignitaries that I do want to mention. Deputy Commissioner for Connecticut's Department of Economic and Community Development, Paul O. Robertson, is in the room with us, as well as Deputy Commissioners Isha Kanata and Chantel Vars. Let's give them a round of applause. Thank you. And now to the moment we have all been waiting for. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the greatest woman athlete of the 20th century and the greatest heptathlon, 6-time Olympic medalist and 3-time gold champion, Jackie Joyner Kersee.
Greatest female athlete in the world, possibly the greatest that we have ever seen.
And Jackie Joyner Kersee, 2 gold medals at World Championships and 2 gold medals here at the Olympic Games.
The heptathlon, 7 events over 2 days to crown the world's greatest female athlete. The USA's Jackie Joyner Kersee was the overwhelming favorite to win gold. The only question, would she set a world record? Cheered by her husband and coach Bob Kersee, Jackie did set the world mark. 5 days later, she added an Olympic record in the long jump, reinforcing her position as the greatest female athlete of her generation.
She wanted to not only win the gold medal, but she wanted to break a world record. She wanted to have a great performance. And we finally had a woman now, a multi-event, a world record holder, Olympic champion.
The champ is here! 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 The champ is here!
Kersey. We are in the presence of greatness, everyone. Let's take a moment to recognize it. Thank you. Thank you. Please be seated. Let's get this discussion underway. We are so happy to have you here with us today.
So glad to be here, and thank you.
We do want to thank NBC Universal Sports for allowing us to play John Williams' Olympic theme songs. We thank you, and we hope that you enjoyed that hero's welcome. So fitting.
Yes.
So fitting.
So, I just love the girls, you know, because we were out in the hallway, and I was like, I'm going to come in with you guys. They go, no, Miss Jackie, it's a surprise. So, and again, thank you all for that very warm welcome. I truly appreciate it.
Well, it is well-deserved. It is well-deserved, and we do not take this moment lightly. We thank you of your time. In fact, the last time you were here, the last time that we know about, was, I believe, 2016. Comcast was handing out, and Comcast, by the way, one of our media sponsors, they were handing out laptops to families in need. You were here, and we're going to talk about this a little bit more and get into this a little deeper, but you showed up. You showed up. They were showing up for families. You showed up, and that has been important to you.
Yes, it's very important to me because we were, with Comcast, it was talking about the digital divide.
Sure.
And providing opportunities and taking them into communities, into different YWCAs and different organizations, passing out laptops to students who might otherwise, be forgotten. So that whole mission, what Comcast was doing, was very significant in order to level the playing field. Everyone has to be able to, in order to compete, you must have the equipment to compete, to get yourself prepared. Yeah. And so bridging that gap made a tremendous difference.
We know, and may I call you Jackie?
Please.
Okay. We know that you know about competing, you know about what it takes to be at that level. Something that none of us in this room will ever know about, okay, first of all, except for you. But you know what it takes to compete at that level, but you also know what it takes to get ready, to be ready. You know what it takes to be a child who perhaps hasn't grown up with all of the tools that maybe you would have needed. So you knew what some of those families were facing.
Yeah, for me, I grew up in East St. Louis, Illinois, and a community that's always talked about negatively, and growing up, people say nothing good come from your community, but there are great people that's in that community, and I sit in this position not alone, even though I might sit here alone, but there were so many people that poured into me and gave me an opportunity. And that's what we were trying to do. And you look at the YWCA, that's what they're doing, pouring into these young ladies, giving them an opportunity so they can compete in the 21st century and beyond. And so I thought it was very important as I go back into my own community of East St. Louis, and our young people are like, oh, Miss Jackie, you should be in Hollywood. And I'm like, no, Hollywood's where we make it. It's right here, And it's the same way in any community. It's being able to, we all have the gift of time. Yeah. And when we can give that time, the difference it can make in someone's life.
Tell me about growing up in East St. Louis. Tell me what that was like for you as a child. Did you envision greatness? When did you realize that? I got questions, clearly. It's not just my job, it's my passion. And before we get into this too deep, you do have to know that the YWCA doesn't even know that when they approached me about emceeing this wonderful event, having the opportunity to sit down with you, I ran track in high school, but I ran track in high school because of you. Oh. Thank you. I obviously didn't do much, but I tried. But here's why that is so important, and here's why this moment is full circle. I was born with asthma. I still struggle with it daily behind the anchor desk. There are days where in between shows I'm taking steroids, prednisones, hitting my inhaler in commercial breaks, and it is a struggle when you can't get air. You, being that athlete, being who you are, never hiding the fact that you were dealing with challenges is what encouraged me. And full circle moment, my daughter, who is going to be 9 years old in a couple of weeks, has asthma. And so I am now teaching her what it means to persevere and not let something that you're born with, a disease, hold you back. You still have to try. So I thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. I want to get back, though, to growing up in East St. Louis. What was that like? Did you envision greatness?
I did envision greatness growing up in East St. Louis. All I ever wanted to do was make my parents proud. My mother and father were 14 and 16 years of age when they had my brother Al first. I'm the oldest girl, and I have 2 younger sisters. And my mother always told us to work hard. Whatever it is that you set out to do, you see it through. You live each moment like it's your last, and only focus on the things we can control and not worry about the things we couldn't control. So we lived in my great-grandmother's home, and at times we didn't have hot water, running water, and we didn't have a stove. You know, when the furnace would go out, we all would gather in the kitchen and put blankets up to try to keep heat in. But that didn't discourage us. You know, and I was very fortunate. A community center was being built right in my neighborhood, and we were curious as young people, what is it that they're building? We thought it was maybe going to be a skating rink because it was this dome, but once that community center was built, we were still able to work with people that were from the community. And I got involved in arts and crafts. I was a part of the Meals on Wheels program. At that time, the librarian would help me to learn how to check out books and do book reports. You know, we had encyclopedia versus Wikipedia, you know. And Catherine Dunham, who is from East St. Louis, the dancers would come over and teach us African dance, and I got involved in track and field, and I wasn't one of the best girls, but I wanted to be good. I convinced my sisters, my next door neighbors, we made up a girls team. We were called Fabulous Dolls, you know.
How old were you then?
We were right around 9, 10 years of age.
Okay.
Yes, you know, just trying to do what we like doing. And when I got involved in track at 9, I went to my first meet. I was sharing with the girls earlier that I finished last in my first competition. And I said to myself, but I'm going to stick with this because I love it. I love it. I love showing up every day. And if I can improve a 1/10 of a second if I was running, a 1/2 inch if I was jumping, that meant the work that we were doing was paying off. And it wasn't until some years later, I turned 14, saw the 76 Olympic Games on television, saw women looking like me doing what I was trying to do. And I was like, wow. And at that time, they would put the university. Evelyn Ashford was someone that I saw with my hair in cornrows. I was like, ooh, maybe, you know, one day I can go to the Olympics and be on television. That's what I thought.
You talk about it so matter-of-factly now, you know, maybe one day, I don't know. You talk about the importance of, and I heard a couple of things there, passion, determination. Perhaps at that age, at 9, you couldn't identify what that was, but you knew that you wanted to push forward. You also mentioned something very important, though, about enjoying it. You liked it.
Yes.
There is something to be said for finding that passion in life and pursuing it, seeking it out. When you find it, pursuing it. You just don't know. There could be greatness there.
Yes, I think there could be greatness there. It's one thing to find your passion. To me, you find your passion, you find your purpose, they connect. But also have fun in the process. Because sometimes we lose sight of just having fun, you know, and for me, I didn't like finishing last, you know, all the time.
Who does?
But I continued to go, and 4th through 9th or whatever the places were. We got all these different color ribbons, you know, and I had a lot of ribbons. And the top 3 get on the podium. They got hardware. And I'm like, oh, I got to figure out how to get on the podium and start getting some hardware to go along with them ribbons, you know. So, but I do think that sometimes we can get so wrapped up into what we're doing that we lose sight of the joy of it. Because in joy, you will find your passion, you'll find your purpose, but then also, I think through failure, you also find joy and you find your purpose and keeps you motivated to keep moving forward.
Was there a lot of failure for you?
It was failure, but I didn't accept it, you know, because it didn't define me. I use it as how can I get better. Yeah. You know, yes. It wasn't about quitting, and sometimes things, they don't work out. Yeah. And I had to figure out, okay, if I'm struggling here, what is the solution to what I need to do? You know, instead of saying, oh, I'm gonna give up, I never knew that opportunity was around the corner. And that I learned that through going through struggles, you know, because even being an asthmatic, I wasn't diagnosed when I was young. I wasn't diagnosed until I got to college. And I was afraid. I thought they were going to take my scholarship because I was like, oh, I'm just good in Illinois, not in California. I mean, that's what I was thinking, you know, because I didn't know what was going on. I couldn't breathe, and it was scary when days I show up, I look like a world-class athlete, and then days I look like I shouldn't even be out here. Yeah. And I had to educate myself and understand that I can control what's going on because I lived in denial. I was very stubborn. I'm telling you. Because I'm like, you can run, jump, throw, do whatever. There's no way I can have asthma. They don't know what they're talking about. Don't live that life. You know, when you can't breathe, you can't breathe.
That's what it comes to. Listen, you need to breathe.
Yes.
Jackie, at what point, and I know you were watching the Olympics, at what point did you think in your head, I really want to pursue this? Is this an idea that came into your head, or did someone encourage you?
You know, our coaches, and we called them chaperones back then, which was volunteers. They were always there for us. No one really pushed us to do something. They showed up every day. Okay. So one of the things that I remember, because my high school didn't start to 10th grade, and I was in 8th or 9th grade, I told my friends, I can't hang out with you all anymore. I'm going to the Olympics. Because they, you know, and I knew, and I said, I'm going to the Olympics.
Wow,
and I got to be focused. I got to do these things. I can't, you know, and that was my mindset. You know, I wasn't going to parties. That wasn't something that I loved doing. My sister and them, they loved going to do that. And so my mother, if I didn't do well academically in school, she wouldn't say, you can't go out on the weekend, you can't go to track practice. So I had to make sure I clean my room up. You know, I pay my sisters 10 cents to help me out, you know, so I could go to practice, you know, because my mother had this philosophy, if we all go out together, we must come home together. And then sometimes my baby sister would just be annoying and like she wanted to go in there early because she knew I wanted to go to practice. So
this was a family affair, really. I mean, it was all tied in.
Yeah, according to me, being the big sister, yes.
Yeah.
Now, my other two sisters, they didn't think of it that way, but it was a family affair. I was the oldest, and I called the shots.
Wow. Wow. So Mom knew of your determination. Mama knew.
I want to say my mother
to some extent
knew of the determination. She didn't really understand what I was doing athletically.
Okay.
She wanted me to get an education and a job and pay her 10% of the money that I made. You know.
You got to contribute to the house.
Right. Because we would go to the local grocery store down the street, and I think my picture some had appeared in a newspaper, and the clerk was like, oh, I saw you in the paper. And my mom like, well, what you in the paper for? So I would have to explain to her about, I won this event, and because she didn't understand. I was like the 400, you know, as young people like, oh, come on, Mom, why you asking me all these questions? I do all of that. Yeah. But my mother was fantastic, great leader, very intuitive, knew the importance where I thought she maybe was being strict, but made me read the local newspaper, so I know what was going on, and then also just have dialogue, conversation. You know, and I remember it was a time where, you know, I would kiss my mother, you know, good night every night. And then one time, you know, you talking amongst your friends and you're like, oh, I kiss her now. Oh, you a baby. So then I stopped kissing her. Then she go like, oh, you kissing on now because you're not kissing me. And I'm like, no. You know? So, but anyway, just some of the things that my mother taught me that I didn't think I needed to be aware of or to know. Yeah. And it wasn't until later in life that I realized the absence of her made a huge difference in my life to keep moving forward.
Wow. Tell me about your first Olympics. Before we get to that, because we got time. Before we get to that, did your journey, Jackie, begin with high school? Were you winning races in high school until you went up to the college level? Where did that journey really click for you and begin? And by journey, I mean the road that took you to an Olympic medalist.
So the journey started by the time I was, you know, not getting all the color ribbons and learning how to get on the podium. You know, I was a national champion at 13 years of age.
Okay.
And
14. Yeah, that's huge. That's huge.
And because we did summer track, and I remember at that time, you know, Sports Illustrated was good to be, you know, on the cover, and they had this little thing facing the crowd, you know, and so someone said, oh, you in Sports Illustrated, right? I'm like, oh, yeah, you know, it's just a little face, but it's good. So I was 14 when that happened, and national champion, state champion in high school, my sophomore and junior year. My senior year was very challenging. We went undefeated in basketball, and so my track season, we believe, was delayed, and delayed from the standpoint of being in shape.
Okay.
And so I go to the state meet. I am the reigning 400 state champion, and I didn't make it out the semis. And I remember talking to Coach Fenoy, who still coaches the high school today and still my mentor. And so I said to him I couldn't breathe. And we just thought that I wasn't in shape.
Wow.
Because in the state of Illinois, our state meet was in May, in the middle part of May, you know, but the weather had changed and it was freezing cold, about 40-some degrees, and it was raining.
If you know anything about asthma, that's an added difficulty.
Yes, and so, but we brushed it off.
Sure.
I ended up getting my scholarship to UCLA in basketball and go on to school, and freshman year having the same kind of problems, you know, and they said I had mono and bronchitis, you know, give me all kind of stuff, and 2 weeks later, I still can't breathe. I'm running into the restroom, trying to figure out, you know, what's going on, and my freshman year it was really challenging for me because I'm so far away from home in Los Angeles, and I'm afraid I'm homesick, but I couldn't let my mother know that I was homesick, so every night we would talk on the phone. I would pretend like I was okay, and I would get off the phone and I would cry, but I had no option because I made the decision to go to the West Coast, so I had to see it through.
Yeah.
And then some weeks later, we have a basketball game against Long Beach State. At that time, they were like number 3 in the nation, and I really had a great game. And back then, on the landline, you call, collect, your mother, they reject the call, call you back, so it wouldn't be on your phone bill. So I call my mother, and I'm talking to her, and I could tell she wasn't doing too well. I didn't know what was going on.
Okay.
But then, come to find out, she thought she would go to the doctor tomorrow. And one of the things me and my mother always talked about is that, again, you live each moment like it's your last. tomorrow isn't promised to you. So we never could talk about the day ahead, but only in the present.
Present.
And so it was kind of concerning because we had never really talked about what tomorrow is going to bring.
And what happens
You know,
next?
so then my mother ended up, I get a call hours later that my mother's extremely ill.
Wow.
Not only ill, my mother had passed away. I'm like, wait a minute. And
Wow.
I had to travel back from LA to St. Louis, go to East St. Louis, and my mother was like quarantined because they were trying to figure out what was going on, and she had contracted the worst form of meningitis. She's bleeding from every organ in her body.
Wow.
And that me being the oldest, my brother and my sister and them, and I talked with my pastor, and we prayed, and my mother's best friend, she said, is she going to be okay? You know, because of just certain things that was happening in our home. When I got ready to go off to school, I wasn't able to hug my mother, you know, and she wasn't able to see me off. And so I decided, you know, to take her off the breathing machine. I call it the breathing machine.
Yeah.
And just went flat. She was 37 years of age. And,
wow.
But then I just always talk about the whisper of my mother's voice, you know, and those whispers, you know, be strong, be bold, be you, you know, and I wanted to go somewhere where people could pour into me, and it was the center I grew up in, and I'll go over there and go to the doors, and there's padlocks on the door, and at 18 years of age, I just started thinking, where do the young people go? You know, and so that was the beginning on a journey, one, trying to open up a community center, also trying to give back to people who had given so much to me, on trying to become an Olympian, and that determination to never give up when everyone else counts you out. You know, I have faith in God, and God put me in a position, and it's because of those blessings that I'm able to share and to continue to have the strength. Even when others say that it's impossible, I always believe it's probable.
You had to make some very tough decisions at a very young age. Make them for yourself, for your mom, for your siblings. Was there a point in your life where you had to sit down and figure it all out before you moved forward? I know that you said that that was the moment that propelled you to go forward. Was this something that was instantaneous? Or did you have to figure it out? That's a lot to go through at a really young age.
It was instantaneously, instant, what you just said.
Yep. Don't mind me, I'm paid to come up with words. Don't mind me. It was instantaneous, yes.
Yes, because we were staying at my aunt's home, and because we didn't have a home to live in. Yeah. And I remember, for me, I saw an image that I believe was of my mother. And the conversations that we had early on when I thought she was being strict and me not listening, it was all those things that I had to really pull together and move forward. So when I saw that image, I knew that it was my mother, and the wake-up call was that, okay, I have a scholarship, I have a dorm room, and they have a cafeteria, all the food I could ever want and eat. So I need to get back on that airplane and go back out to Los Angeles and finish the job that I started. That's how it started.
That's it?
Yes.
Wow. Do you still hear your mother's whispers to this day?
Every day.
Every day.
Yes.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. We can't do anything alone.
No.
From our faith to the village, to partners, to track coaches for you. You had one of the greatest track coaches of all time. Yeah.
Still is.
Yeah, hello. I thought I'd leave that little introduction to you.
Thank you. But
How important is having someone like Mr. Kersey in your corner?
oh, and the reason I say still is because he's still coaching.
Absolutely.
And they,
you don't stop.
So, but as it relates to me, one of the greatest things was having Coach Fenoy, my high school coach, who was my age group coach.
Okay.
By the time I had graduated from high school, he said, I have taught you all I can teach you. Now it's time to go learn from someone else. And that don't happen very often, that I see where some people don't let go and don't allow a person to go and learn from someone else.
And blossom,
Yes.
really.
And so going to UCLA and working with Bobby, and because I'm difficult to deal with, I know.
A little stubborn.
Yes.
Your words.
Could be very demanding, but it balances us out because I have goals, and no matter how great people said I was at the time, I could never be greater than him. And the reason I say that, because he was my coach. I always wanted to remain coachable.
Yeah.
I always wanted to learn how I can do better. And learning, for me, the master, is that what is it that we can do, because the combination of us made us a winning combination. It wasn't the separation of us that one did better than the other.
Wow. So you met in high school. You met in high school.
Who?
Your coach, your husband?
No, not in high school. College.
College. Sorry about that.
Yes.
College. When did you know that this would be not just a partnership on the track, off the track, but in life?
So Bobby and I, we really worked on just being friends, because we were battle back and forth, because I'm not one that, I need to know why I need to do certain things.
Sure.
And
that's how we learn, right?
his philosophy is always, those who know why would always beat those who know how. Because a lot of times he prepared us as if he's not going to be in the stadium. Because you have to do the work in practice. I don't need to be there to see you get the job done.
Yeah.
So as we continue to compete, and then I think it was like around in probably the end of 85, 86, somewhere in there, year. We are together, and we at this baseball game. I think it was, I know who it was, the Houston Astros, and I can't remember who they were playing, but I know we were in the Houston Astro Stadium. And so, because I'm like, I like baseball, but sometimes, it can take forever.
It's a long game.
Yes.
And it gets boring sometimes.
Yeah. But he's sitting up there chewing on that hot dog, and then he was like, I'm thinking about getting married. And I'm like, oh, you'll make a great husband for someone. He go, I'm talking about marrying you. And it was like, and that's how it went.
That's how it went. That's how it went. I love that. You said that happened in 86, but in 84, you had already gone to the Olympic Games in Los Angeles. 88, you had Seoul. 92 in Barcelona. 96 in Atlanta, and I'm reading this because I don't want to mess it up. What hurdles did you have to overcome? Aside from what you've mentioned, what hurdles did you have to overcome off of the field, off of, outside of competition, in order to get there, to make it to those Olympics, in order to become the Jackie Joyner Kersey who we see today?
So, in order to become an Olympic hopeful, which you have qualifying mark, and then you become an Olympian, and you put in the work. So for me, there are many facets to me becoming an Olympian and dealing with things that goes back to my mother saying, focus on the things you can control and not worry about the things you cannot. So discrimination, racism, it exists. But it couldn't be a barrier for me not to achieve my goals. And so even going to my first Olympic Games, that physically I have this ability to do, in other people's eyes, amazing things. But I wasn't mentally strong because I had gotten injured. And because I was injured, that meant something must be wrong with my leg. And I had to learn again that in athletics, injuries happen. And you have to learn to adjust and to adapt. And in the world that we live in, you know, a lot of times you don't like when people are saying negative things about you when they don't even know you. But it, to me, couldn't allow it to get me off course. You know, so make my first Olympic team. You know, I get the silver medal, but, you know, silver is great for, you know, anyone. But it wasn't great for me. I wanted to be the best. You know, I didn't train. Yes, I didn't train to be second best. I trained to be the best. But I learned from that silver medal. The motivation.
You were the best. You are.
Yeah.
You were the first, and in fact, speaking of the best, the first to score more than 7,000 points in the heptathlon. Take us back to the very first time you won your first gold medal. Tell me how it felt. Tell me what Mama said. Tell me about that whisper that you heard from Mama after that first gold. If we can, because we're talking candidly and intimately. So you tell me if I've asked something that you're not comfortable with. You can tell me I'm going to pass on that.
That's okay, I'll tell you, but you know, we're good.
I appreciate that. We're amongst 1,100 friends.
Yeah, we're good, we're good, we're good.
Thank you.
You know, before I could go, so about the first medal, really.
First gold.
You know, I don't, not the gold, but the silver.
Okay.
Because that was my first Olympic Games.
Yes.
And my mother always thought that she would catch the bus to see us if we made it to the Olympic team. Not knowing it might be in another country. You're not going to catch no bus.
It's not going to happen.
She didn't know a lot about athletics, you guys. But so anyway, me and my brother both make our first Olympic team. And even though when we were younger, I outran my brother to prove a point about the importance of going to practice every day. Because he didn't believe in practicing. And so he talking to his friends and like, oh, I can beat her on any given day.
Oh, you can you?
So we had this match race, you know, from the stop sign to the mailbox. And I outrun him, and I just turned around and told him, see, that's what practice will do for you. But anyway, fast forward, we go to the Olympic Games together, and again, I'm dealing with an injury. I'm not mentally strong, and I do the 2-day heptathlon, and I'm not doing all the things I'm supposed to do in between the events, like replenish my fluids, eat. You know, I'm so wrapped up into my leg that I'm not focusing on getting the job done. And for me, it's not thinking like a champion. And the last event, the 800 meters, as I'm lining up for the 800 meters, they're announcing that my brother Al Joyner had just won the gold in the triple jump. Yes.
Wow.
So, and he beat me to the first gold medal. But anyway. So anyway, as I finished my 2 laps, and I knew in my heart I hadn't won, and I didn't deserve to win, you know, because I didn't execute. My coaches, everyone had me ready, but I didn't believe I was ready. And so my brother came over to me, and, you know, I had tears of joy for him.
Yes.
And I just told him, I'm not going to allow the media to use my leg as an excuse. I say, if God bless me to make another Olympic team, I want to be the toughest athlete out there mentally, because physically I have the ability to do it. And so we both embrace each other. We raised our hand, and he had the gold medal, I had the silver medal, and all we could think about was my mother. You know, because she didn't know if this was possible, but we believed we could do it. And so when you talk about the whispers of my mother's voice or hearing those, I hear them all the time, is that never give up on yourself. You can turn a doubter into a believer as long as you believe.
Yes, ma'am. Yes. There is nothing more important to me than family and God, and to share those intimate words and conversations, and I call them conversations because that's what they are. To share that with all of us today, I thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you.
Thank you.
You once said that we live in a world, and this is a direct quote, we live in a world where sports have the potential to bridge the gap between racism, sexism, and discrimination. Can you tell us how you have used sports to advocate for equity and justice and to bridge gender and racial gaps?
Yes, for me, traveling the world and not being able to speak many language, only one anyway, English, and it is amazing how sports and individuals that's in the sports arena can bring people together from all walks of life and be able to have all different kind of conversations and open the dialogue for uncomfortable conversation and trying to come up with some type of solution or something that can help this generation or the next generation. And so sports allow you to do that. And for me, I use sports as a hook for the work that I do in my community. The young people that come through those doors are not athletes. They just, to me, I want them to be great human beings. But then also allow us to be able to have some conversation around, if you talk about mental health. You know, when I was coming through, we couldn't talk about mental health. In our group, as athletes, we could. But if that leaked out to anyone, then, oh, they're weak, or something wrong with this person. Or, you know, even with asthmatics with the guys, or football guys, you know, it's like, oh, you being a wimp. It has nothing to do with that. It's a condition. And then when I look at in the 80s and 90s when, you know, we didn't have social media, and, you know, and someone telling me I don't look a certain way because I don't look like my sister-in-law, or try to divide us as women instead of trying to pull us together and embracing the beauty of what we're bringing, you know, and the diversity of us, you know, which is really challenging at times, you know, and to read that I look like a gorilla, I mean, it was just heartbreaking while you're still trying to compete. And no one standing up or saying anything about it. That's not nice at all. But I always took it like that's the devil trying to get to you. I'm still go out here and do what I need to do, and I address that later. Because when I was competing, I wasn't worrying about if my hair is in place and this makeup here. I was like, I'm trying to look at that. See, I ain't trying to worry about that. I was trying to compete and win and do the best I could. So that's what I do think that what sports can do, can have you, because this is not something that someone else is doing. This is something that I experience. And having a role model like Wilma Rudolph, you know, who come before me and knowing that having polio, not knowing if she was going to be able to walk, let alone go to the Olympics in Tokyo and win 3 gold medals, and can't go back in her own hometown and eat at the counter because of the color of her skin, but could travel abroad and they would embrace you like you're the president and the queen that she was. And she wasn't bitter at all. All you can do is teach a generation, learn the history. It's very important to educate yourself. You know, we can't allow what's happening in our world today to just be a moment. And young people can't get tired. You can't get impatient. You got to be patient. You got to see it through. Got to continue to take these donors and all these supporters to continue to invest in the YWCA.
Yes.
Because those young ladies are the future leaders of tomorrow.
Absolutely.
And they're going to face challenges. But with the knowledge of each and every one of us, we can help them.
You are speaking truth, and you know this because you have walked this walk. There are so many important things that you've said there. If we don't acknowledge and know how far we've come and where we've come from, we can't possibly know where we're going in the future.
Yes.
We have to acknowledge that, honor and accept it, work for change in the
Yes.
future. You have done that in your retirement. You mentioned the center that back at home that was the one center that was all that you knew. You in your retirement opened a center back at home for children. Tell me why you did that, how that came about. It's another way that it seems that you were showing up, not just for yourself, but for the community.
Again, I have to, one, I always give credit to God, but I think it's very important. My mother is guiding me all along the way. Yeah. You know, going to the center and padlocks on the door. Yeah. I'm 18 years of age, and I didn't know you need money to be doing these things, you know. So, but having my second Olympic Games, going to the Olympics and winning double gold in Seoul, Korea, and I had sponsors and sponsorship dollars. I chartered an airplane, took 110 students to the Macy Day Parade because I was on the float along with Carl Lewis and FloJo and Janet Evans. And I wanted our young people to see our community is no different than any other community. And that at that time, I started my foundation work. Yeah. And I said I didn't need a building to help people. So I would work with the different, my church, my school, and at that time I did a lot with Girls Inc. and different programs because my parents couldn't afford for me to go to some of the Junior Olympic meets. My little 15 cents that I had for lunch to try to save didn't add up to nothing really. Right. And so, but it was coaches and mentors that my mother would always tell me, don't take anything from a stranger. Don't let anybody give you anything because they don't want you on anybody anything. And so you would have to wait and come home and eat, you know. So, but because of those coaches and mentors, we would be at track meets, and anybody go to AAU track meet, you out there all day, like 10 hours.
All day.
Yes, and so, and I remember the coach said, you know, go get something to eat. I'm like, oh, I'm not hungry. You know, that's because I didn't have any money. Wow. And he said, well, go in there and try to eat anyway. Didn't embarrass me, but made me feel good. So these are the value lessons that I really garner from the people who work with me. And so, 96, we broke ground on the Jackie Joyner Kersee Center. Beautiful. We opened in 2000. We do after-school programming. We provide transportation, pick our students up from school, take them home. They get a meal. I have a curriculum based off my autobiography called Winning in Life, and off these 14 different principles. So we do STEM. We have our math. We use sports as the hook, again, because our athletes or student athletes that come to the door are the ones that get cut from the team, and they think they're on the JJK team like they're in Major League or somewhere.
No.
Yeah, oh, this coach doesn't like me, and then it's like, no, we're going to work with you on the soft skills. You know, because you need a lot of working. You know, it's not that they don't like you. Did you show up on time? Well, no, I was late. It's a whole, yeah, we get around that. And so we have our baseball fields, softball fields, soccer, you know, and nice. We're working on building an innovation center around food and agriculture called the JJK Fan. And have Pathway working with U of I Extension and the Donna Danforth Plant Science. We run the greenhouse that's in the Park District where they learn about hydroponics and aquaponics, also learning where food come from. We have raised beds on our campus. You know, we sit about 45 acres, and and the only thing I don't have is a track because I didn't want it to be about me in the beginning, but now our long-term goal is to build an indoor field house with a track.
That's got to feel wonderful. That has got to
Yes,
feel
bless.
wonderful. We could continue this discussion all day long, but we are running out of time. And I do have one last question to ask you. I watched an interview with you where you said, you know, being a champion is great, but you'd rather be, and equally as important to you is being a good person. And I can hear that in your words. And I can hear that and see that in the effort that you've put, not just into touching lives back at home, but touching lives all over. How do you want to be remembered?
Yes, I always talk about, I think it's so important to be a great human being.
Yeah.
You know, I am so blessed and I'm so honored. The accolades, the medals, all those things are bestowed on you from someone else, and materialistic things. They could be taken away at any given time. But my heart and soul would be with me forever. And that's what I really, really thrive in, making my parents proud, is being a great person, because I do believe that if you're a great human being, you would do great things in life.
Jackie Joyner Kersee, on that I'm going to allow you to drop the mic, because the words of wisdom that you have shared with us today, we have learned so much from you. I hope that you feel it sitting out there, because I feel it.
Thank you.
We will take what you have shared with us, and we will keep it close to the vest, because your words are not to be taken lightly. You are the GOAT. And to be able to sit here and to be able to learn from you, and to have you share your story, your humble beginnings, your journey, the things that you hold closest and nearest and dearest to your heart, we appreciate you. So from a heart full of gratitude, I thank you for being here. The YWCA thanks you for being here, our Hartford region. And the guests in the room, thank you as well. Please stand up and take your bow like the queen that you are. Jackie Joyner Kersee, everyone. Let's give her a round of applause. Thank you.
Thank you. And I just want to, could you turn the music down just one? This is one of my favorite quotes. And I don't know where I got it from, but this is for all of you that's in the audience. And I'd like for you to remember, that you share shall multiply, and that you hold back on will diminish. God bless you, and thank you.
God bless you too.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome YWCA Hartford Region Board Chair, Commissioner Andrea Barton-Reed.
So thank you, everyone. What an extraordinary afternoon we've really had the privilege to share. So for the young women who are in the room, I have been taking notes, and I hope you've been doing the same, because what we saw today was history, and it was magic. So I'm going to recount for you the lessons that you should be taking with you, so that you can understand that what you saw today is not an accident. It happens on purpose. So what did our champion tell us today? To always remain coachable. She taught us that practice matters. She taught us that failure teaches us lessons, but they do not define who we are. She also told us to stay focused on our dreams, and finally, there is power in persistence. So we at the YWCA really want to thank you today for being here. And all we can say today is, wow, it really has been so rewarding. And Jackie Joyner Kersee, your life story has been awe-inspiring. So thank you, Keisha, for being legendary and allowing us to get to know Jackie more, because what happened today is irreplicable, and we're glad for that, so thank you. So from the Persimmon Plaza, yes, please, let's give her an applause. So from the Persimmon Plaza, which is right outside, to the afternoon, we have been able to celebrate the YWCA Hartford region and all of its wins for women and girls and families that we serve every day. We're so incredibly grateful for your support. When we have to cut off attendance at 1,100 people, we are so excited and so deeply grateful for the support that you provide to us and all of the work that we do for women and girls. So as the board chair, I want you to know that I'm speaking on behalf of our entire board when we say thank you. We are so proud of our organization and the work that we do, and we are always champions for equity and equality for women and girls, and we're so glad that you've chosen today and every day to partner with us in the work that we do. Our wins include our leadership, the incomparable Adrienne Cochran. So in your 5th year at the helm, we have seen this organization blossom and grow in ways we could have never imagined. From our Persimmon Petals social enterprise to what we saw today, they are all about your leadership, and we are incredibly grateful for you. So thank you. Thank you, Adrienne. So to our co-chairs, Annie and Monica, thank you for serving as co-chairs. You did a beautiful job. And this room is full because of your efforts, so thank you. And to the team that produces Luncheon and put it together, you truly outdid yourselves today, so thank you. And once again, thank you to everyone in the room. We knew that last year was our first year back after COVID, and we wondered if you would come, and you did. And then we wondered if you'd come a second year, but we're not going to wonder anymore. And we truly, truly hope that you'll join us again next year. And stay tuned for our announcement for who our speaker will be. We do work on that like the day after, so, it takes a little while. But thank you again, and have an excellent afternoon and week.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for spending a wonderful afternoon with us. We are grateful for your loyalty and continued support. As you leave, don't forget to stop by the Persimmon Petals Flower Shop and Gift Boutique to order your flowers for Mother's Day. And sign up for a Persimmon Petals flower subscription for upcoming holidays. Thanks again, and have a great day.